Welcome to The Explainer. Look, right now, the cannabis industry is standing on the absolute precipice of the most massive financial and regulatory shift we've seen in its history. We are talking about the end of the crippling 280E tax code. You know, that IRS rule that's basically financially suffocated state-licensed marijuana businesses for years. But unlocking this historic tax relief, well, it comes with a major catch. You've got a high-stakes, rapidly closing window to comply with brand new DEA registration rules. The stakes literally have never been higher, and the clock is ticking.
$888. Okay, in the grand scheme of commercial cannabis, I know, this seems incredibly small, right? But for a retail dispensary, this $888 application fee is the critical key to unlocking federal legitimacy. It's the exact cost of the DEA Form 224 registration. That form legally brings a state-licensed dispensary under federal cover, and it opens the door to millions in permanent tax relief. So yeah, it's pretty much the best $800 you'll ever spend. So here is our roadmap for today. We're going to quickly cover 1. The Schedule 3 shift, 2. That urgent 60-day window, 3. Exactly who needs to register, 4. Navigating those application steps, 5. Demystifying that scary liability red flag, and 6. Your post-registration compliance. Let's get right into it. Section 1. The Schedule 3 shift, from policy to bottom-line impact. Okay, let's dive into this.
The very first thing we really need to understand is the sheer magnitude of this shift. Medical marijuana and FDA-approved products containing marijuana are officially moving from Schedule 1 to Schedule 3 of the Controlled Substances Act. Now, the catalyst for this move was initiated by the Trump administration, with Acting Attorney General Todd Blanche recently signing the DOJ order. This was done specifically to align the U.S. with international drug control treaties, like the Single Convention, while finally acknowledging the long-standing reality of state-regulated medical marijuana programs.
So what does this actually mean for you? Well, here is how this dry policy shift translates into a massive bottom-line impact. Because marijuana is moving to Schedule 3, it permanently removes the crushing 280E tax burden. Remember, Section 280E only applies to Schedule 1 and 2 substances. By moving to Schedule 3, state-licensed businesses are finally going to be able to take standard federal tax deductions. This is a real game-changer that will radically transform balance sheets across the board.
But getting that relief requires navigating a pretty tight federal maze. Which brings us to Section 2, the urgent 60-day window, the ticking clock.
All right, this timeline needs to be your new master calendar. The DOJ rule became effective on April 22nd. Now, that triggered a 60-day expedited registration window that officially closes on June 26th. If you file your application inside this exact window, you get a 6-month processing goal from the DEA. But more importantly, filing by June 26 guarantees your legal right to keep operating your business under your state license while your federal application is pending. And this DOJ final order brilliantly illustrates why that deadline is absolute. It says the expedited timeline and that right to operate only apply if you file within those first 60 days. Missing this window, well, it means losing that 6-month processing guarantee, and it risks your critical federal right to keep your doors open while you wait. So mark it down. The June 26 deadline is entirely non-negotiable. Don't mess around with this one.
Section 3. Who needs to register? Choosing the right path. Let's figure out exactly which federal regulatory bucket your operation actually falls into. Think of it like a giant puzzle. Your state license is the key, and the DEA registration is the lock. They have to match perfectly. Identifying your lane is pretty straightforward. If you're a retail dispenser or pharmacy dispensing directly to patients, you're going to use DEA Form 224, and your fee is $888. And hey, that's actually valid for 3 years. If you're a distributor, meaning you handle the wholesale layer, you'll use Form 225 with an annual fee of $1,850. And if you're a manufacturer who cultivates, processes, or packages, you also use Form 225, but your annual fee jumps to $3,699. Just keep in mind, these fees are per location and per activity. Now, you might be wondering about vertically integrated operators, folks running cultivation, distribution, and retail all at once. You actually can roll these scopes into one DEA file for a single location, but listen to this carefully because this is absolutely crucial. Your federal authorization can never, ever exceed the boundaries of your state license. If your state says you can only dispense, you cannot register federally as a manufacturer, period. Your federal permission is strictly bound by your state credential.
Section 4. Navigating the application steps. Building your action plan.
Now, what's really interesting here is the actual prep work.
Getting this right isn't just about filling out a form, It's about building a bulletproof strategy. Before you even touch the DEA portal, you need to know about the number 8. This stands for the 8-Hour MATE Act training. The Medication Access and Training Expansion Act now requires that all dispensing pharmacists complete an 8-hour training on managing patients with substance use disorders. You literally have to confirm completion of this one-time training by checking a box on the application. Without it, you just cannot successfully apply.
Okay, so here is your exact sequence of actions. Step 1. Audit your state license file. The DEA structurally accepts a clean state license at face value as conclusive evidence of your authority to operate. If your state file has unresolved violations, you need to fix them right now. Step 2. Go complete that MATE Act training. Step 3. Submit Form 224 or 225 through the DEA's online portal, making absolutely sure your business name and address perfectly match your state license. And Step 4. Pay that non-refundable fee. Easy enough, right?
Well, it sounds simple, but one part of the application is causing massive panic in the industry. Section 5, the liability red flag, de-escalating the anxiety.
When you get to Section 4 of the DEA portal, you're going to be hit with this terrifying question. Has anyone previously manufactured, distributed, and/or dispensed any controlled substance without a DEA registration? Yikes. I mean, for a state-licensed operator who's been selling Schedule I marijuana for years under state law without federal permission, answering yes to this feels a lot like admitting to a federal crime right on the application.
But hey, take a deep breath. Let's look at the DEA's official clarification on this. They have explicitly stated that answering yes to this question is not an automatic denial. It's actually just a standard information gathering process. The DEA recognizes that you've been operating under state law, and they put this in just to ensure transparency and get some context. It is not a categorical barrier to entry, and every single application is going to be evaluated fairly on a case-by-case basis. So just answer truthfully, and please don't let this one question derail your whole filing.
Let's assume you've filed successfully and secured your registration. What's next? Section 6, Post-Registration Compliance, the new federal reality.
For manufacturers, there's this very bizarre new requirement that you have to engineer into your operations just to satisfy Article 23 of the Single Convention Treaty. Believe it or not, it is a forced paper transaction. You essentially have to establish a nominal price for your crop. Then, on paper, you will sell the crop to the DEA at that price and then immediately buy it back from them plus an administrative fee. All the while, you have to store the crop in a facility that the DEA has access to until the transaction is totally complete. It sounds wild, I know, but your physical storage and standard operating procedures need to be ready for this very unique accounting requirement from day one.
And for everyone across the board, just remember this golden rule. Your federal compliance is permanently tethered to your state standing. If your state license expires, is suspended, or gets revoked, guess what? Your DEA registration automatically suspends right along with it. You're also adopting new federal requirements, like a biennial inventory every 2 years and strict federal warning labels on your packaging. Basically, your state license is the keystone holding up your entire federal cover.
We have covered a tremendous amount of ground today on this explainer, from the Schedule 3 shift and that absolute, non-negotiable June 26 deadline, all the way to application forms, MATE Act training, and navigating those scary liability questions. But I really want to leave you with this final provocative thought to take back to your team. Your state gave you a license to operate, but if a DEA diversion investigator walked through your front doors tomorrow, are you truly ready for federal inspectors? It is time to review your internal audits, tighten up your physical security, and get that application filed. Thanks for joining me, and I'll see you next time.